Okay, take two and action. What's going on, guys, and welcome back again. I just did this, and for some reason my audio was not recording, even though it was all plugged in from yesterday. But anyway, you don't care about that. So, Jafar, Clarabelle. Is it the most unlikely duo in this set? Green Jafar. It was a thing last set. How good is it going to be? I think it's good enough to get your Let It Go to DLC. I think it's good enough to possibly get you even higher. I think it's good enough to get your set championships playmats. So what would the list that I think you should run is? Well, this one comes in at about $330. Keep in mind, with the new set being just released, some of these prices do fluctuate a little bit, and we play 12 uninkable cards, so a lot of the time you will be able to have ink. Our cost curve really peaks in that 3 range. We do have a decent bit of 7s. We just said Clarabelle and Jafar, so you know that's where we're at there. And the 8 and 9s, you shouldn't be too surprised, but they are sing-along songs, so at least they work out good. What are some decks that you have to worry about? Well, everyone is worried about aggro, so we'll talk about that after we go through the list. And also, Steel Song is probably the best deck of the format, so we'll talk about that as well. Getting into the deck list, then, we have 4 Clarabelle and 4 Pegasus. These are my turn 1 options. I really like Pegasus, and Clarabelle not only is nice for the shift line, she also has the 2 willpower, so she can attack into your aggro matchups. Assuming they don't hit Daisy on one, if they hit Maleficent or Lilo, she can take those out really quickly and survive it because of the 2 willpower. But in addition, once you hit turn 3 or later, which, let's be honest, versus most item-based decks, that's when item-based decks really start to become a threat, is turn 3 and later, Clarabelle can be played and pay 2 ink to banish an item. So she offers up item removal once you get to that turn 3 versus Sapphire deck, so that's really strong. And not even just that, she could hit like Sleepy's Flute, Sorcerer's Spellbook, or any other items, a Prince John's Mirror even versus the Emerald decks. On to, we are playing 2 Morph. I got 4 little Jafars in there, the 4 Clarabelles, we got the Pegasus, so we have our other shift targets. But Morph offers a little bit more, right? He gives another option. It's a turn 2 with 2 strength. It presents a potential threat that your opponent might want to deal with. Turn 3, you could discard a song, play your Diablo, and use it immediately. So it gives that option as well, because we're not playing the 1-cost Diablo. And for right now, I do like Morph just to be in there, because we have a lot of threats for things like Brawl, for Let the Storm Rage On, and cards like that, between Ursula, between Diablo, between your Jafar shifts. And then you add in Morph just as another option that your opponent has to worry about. And even the Clarabelle, because Clarabelle is such a strong card. For Ursulas, pretty much like last format, if you're playing Emerald, you're probably playing 4 Ursulas. Steel Song, incredibly strong right now. Amethyst has some really good songs right now. Ruby has good songs right now. So there's so many decks that are... We all realize that songs are so broken, right? So playing her just makes sense at 4. On 3, Jafar Lamp Thief isn't typically played in a lot of these decks, but being able to look at the top 2 cards and decide which one you want to get next turn can actually be very beneficial. I think it helps out because it's like, well, what if they're both not good? Well, if they're both not good, you were going to draw both of them anyway. This way, you can put the less bad one on top and put the other one on the bottom, so you actually help out that way. So again, you can speed up the deck just to get to your better cards quicker with him, and he quests for 2, so I do like it. However, Diablo on 3 and Ursula Deceiver of All on 3 are just stronger options. Ursula, we're only playing 7 songs for her, and while it might not seem that efficient, you could also argue we're playing 10, because if Ursula sings the second star to the right, you do get to double sing it, as long as she was one of those who did sing it, and draw 10 cards and get 10 lore, assuming you have a Jafar out, because Ursula plus Jafar equals 10. It just seems like a match made in heaven, and maybe Clarabelle isn't the unlikely duo. Maybe it's Ursula and Jafar. However, that's pretty likely. We all saw it last format, and we all already know about it. Clarabelle being the new welcoming party to the deck. Keep in mind too, I have seen people ask, with Diablo being exerted and drawing on your opponent's turn, does it trigger your Jafar? It does not, because Jafar is on your turn, Diablo is on your opponent's turn. Keep in mind, A Clarabelle drawing on your opponent's turn, though, at the end of their turn. End of the turn is still your turn, so Diablo will get the option to draw a card for each of those cards, and then they do not get to Clarabelle again. So that is a very key point, because otherwise you'll just be a deck out loop at that point. Your Diablo, because end of the turn, right? Diablo doesn't trigger because there's no trigger for it. Clarabelle triggers, goes into the bag, you resolve Clarabelle, then Diablo goes into the bag, resolves, and Clarabelle does not go back into the bag. That's how the Diablo-Clarabelle interaction works. Jafar, Keeper of Secrets, 5 willpower is pretty darn good. You draw a lot, you get a lot of advantage, so his strength usually is pretty good. He's going to wipe out multiple characters trying to take him out, aside from like a Maui. Quest for 2. There's not a whole lot more to say about him. And he's a 4-cost Jafar, which means on turn 5 you can shift for big Jafar still. Went down to 3 rabbits. Trying to keep the uninkable count really low. And without playing the bouncers, Rabbit loses a little bit of utility there. However, it can still sing some of our songs. So Merlin Rabbit's not bad. It's just not that great without the bouncers. The Pegasus shift line I really do like. Just giving everything evasive is really strong, and having evasive itself is pretty good. 4 Jafars shouldn't be too, crazy there. We're playing Jafar after all. And then we have 3 Clarabelles. With Clarabelle, however, I felt 3 was plenty, because it's not always going to get you that advantage. Sometimes she's a 5/6 body with 2 questing for 2, which, don't get me wrong, that's really, really good stat line. But we have enough card draw that I think 3 is more than enough for her. And lastly, too, with Jafar and Clarabelle, like we said before, Clarabelle is during the end of your turn, keyword, words, end of your turn, meaning it is still your turn. So Jafar will trigger from the Clarabelle draws if she can draw you any cards. Because, like I said, the end of the turn is your turn. I believe it's rule section 4.4.1.3, but don't quote me on that. Into our actions, 3 Hypnotic Deduction. This is another card that I have not seen played a ton, but drawing 3 and putting 2 cards back I think is really, really strong. And why is it strong? I think it's really strong because it costs 2 and it's inkable. If it costs like 3 or 4 or was uninkable, I don't think it would be that great, but being a 2 cost and inkable, I think it's a really, really strong card. Essentially, why that makes it so strong is you have a lot of cards here, right? You have Rabbit that you can't use till turn 4. You have a Jafar. You have Clarabelle that you can't use till turn 5. So why is it not that good? What if you have Second Star to the Right or Under the Sea in your hand and you just can't use them yet? You play your deduction. You get to draw 3 cards, and you can put Jafar, Clarabelle, Second Star to the Right, whatever they are, back on top of your deck. Use the cards that you can use right now to get you to that point when you can use that card, knowing you're going to be able to draw it anyway. So you get it back, and you can just fix your hand. Well, what if you have bad cards that you don't like, and you want to keep all your good cards? No, put your high-cost good cards back, and just ink your bad cards, because you don't want to be inking your good cards. 17 songs then. Strike a good match and friends on the other sides. Other side. These are just your double triggers off your Ursula. Both cards will net you 4 cards and 4 lore. Strike a good match will make you discard a couple, but that's okay. You're welcome. Another really strong card. If you sing it with a Rabbit, you get to draw 3, assuming you target your own Rabbit. You get to draw 3 and get 3 lore. That's really strong. And if you need to out an opponent's card, you can out an opponent's card with it. So 3 of that, and 2 Bruno is just another way to out opponent's cards. Under the Sea, especially right now with how heavy aggro a lot of people are worried about, Under the Sea is very, very strong. Even in the Steel Song matchup, it hits Rapunzel, it hits Ariel, it hits Daisy. If they're playing Piglet, it hits Piglet. It does a lot of work. It hits Ursula, the singer. It hits Cinderella, the singer. It does a lot of work into the Steel Song matchup. It doesn't do everything because Queen, Robin Hood, Tinkerbell, if they're playing those high-cost cards, it doesn't hit a lot of those. But for the most part, it does actually do really good into the Steel Song matchup. Smee, another card that it won't touch. And then 3 Second Star to the Right. Again, being able to draw 5 or potentially 10 if you use Ursula for it is really strong. And if you get the 10 lore from your Jafar, it's even stronger. This deck can come out of absolutely nowhere and win a game very, very quickly. I think it's something you definitely should not sleep on. And say something like a turn 5 Ursula plus Jafar Sing second star to the right, you get 10 cards and 10 lore. Even if that doesn't win the game for you, you just got 10 new cards. You have so many resources. You're probably going to be in a really good spot to win the game still. Other notes, so versus that aggro matchup, you really want to hit a turn 1, preferably your Pegasus, because you want to get to, say, the Under the Sea early, or you want to be able to like shift the Pegasus even, because that 3/3 stat line is going to be good for clearing out characters. Morph, you might not want to use it for shift. You might just use the 2 strength to help take down characters quicker. Getting to Ursula and your Jafar Keeper of Secrets because of their higher willpower, being able to take out more threats. Even just spamming low-cost characters. Trade with their board early, and they run out of resources. Your deck is much better at maintaining resources in that mid-game, so if you can just break their board down and get rid of their resources, you'll be sitting in a pretty good spot. Like I said, Under the Sea is going to put in a lot of work here too. You do have your Welcome, and you do also have Bruno if you need. Versus Steel Song, like we said, Under the Sea actually does do pretty good work here. Keeping your resources up, because that's what they want to do too. Timing out your Ursula Deceiver really well, especially hitting those whole new worlds. If you can go trading cards for cards with their other songs and just kind of take it, that's actually not terrible, especially if you can maintain your advantage and, like I said, kind of break even on board with them, but just maintain a better hand advantage. Because if you take away that whole new world, their draw engine is really lacking. They do still have Rapunzel, and I haven't seen Sad Beast played in a while, but that could be an option that they play, so do keep in mind for that. But Steel Song, definitely a deck you're going to want to practice against, and that one, I'd probably try to get to my Jafar, get to my play lines, keeping in mind they're going to, you know, probably come after your shift targets. They're going to try to stop you from getting to Jafar. Zeus can take out a Jafar, so holding your Ursula until possibly like turn 4 even. Like if you can go turn 1 Pegasus, turn 2 Morph, turn 3 shift Pegasus, turn 4 Ursula, hit a Zeus, turn 5 shift Jafar, and then you can start singing songs that way, just because Zeus being able to one-shot. Unfortunately, you don't have the whole new world where you can just, you know, sing it with Pegasus, sing it with Jafar, both in the same turn, but do it in the other order if you're playing. I mean, you can't play those 3 colors, so it don't matter. But say Robin Hood, you would want to sing Jafar first, draw into another one, sing it with Robin Hood second. Anyway, we're not talking about Steel Jafar. This is still Green Jafar. Any other questions, let me know down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment down below. I'll have a new spreadsheet linked. The one in this video is still for last format, so starting with the next video, I'm going to update that spreadsheet in the coming days and get it for the current format. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.